Hi everybody, and welcome to another Expats Portugal webinar where we'll be discussing moving your personal property from wherever your previous home is to your new home in Portugal. Thank you for being part of our live audience today, especially for those who are our club or premium members. If you're watching this recording on YouTube and you'd like to be part of our live audience, please join as a club or premium member on our website, and you too can be part of the live audience here to get your questions answered. But for now, we're going to be chatting with Thiago from Global International Removals, and of course our host Carl. So over to both of you to start the show.
Thank you very much indeed. Good evening to Dean, Patrick and Barbara, Chiara and Andrea. People saying hi from all over the world. Fantastic. Seattle, Charlotte, North Carolina, Detroit, Pennsylvania, San Diego. Please keep those hellos coming in. And of course, your questions about moving your belongings to Portugal. Who better to answer them than Thiago Gonçalves from GIR tonight. Good evening to you, Thiago. How are you?
Good evening to all of you, and thank you very much for the invite. And I'm hoping to be able to explain all the questions that can emerge regarding moving to Portugal, our personal effects. My name is Thiago, as already mentioned. I'm the Chief of Operations Officer from Global International. The last 11 years of my life, I have been working on the moving business, mainly part of the coordination process. And let's start. This webinar and try to help everyone that have some questions.
Absolutely brilliant. Thank you, Thiago. Great to see you. COO at GIR. Now, you have some funky titles there, don't you? Yours is quite traditional, I think. You are Chief Operations Officer. What does that involve exactly at GIR?
Normally, imagine the part of the Chief Operations Officer, COO. It's the part that I take care of the coordination part, the people that takes care of all the logistics side of the moving. Then I take care also of the operations, warehouse, the crew, our crews that take care of the packings, of the deliveries. So everything involved. In this case, we are based in Lisbon, as you know, but we have our branch in Porto and in Lolé, Algarve in this case. We also have our colleagues in Azores and Madeira. So I have to take care, basically, to control all of that part of the operations and coordination process of our company.
Lucky man.
Yeah.
if it was me, I think I'd probably keep having to go to Madeira just to make sure everything's okay over there.
Yeah, I try that every year, but okay. I've been trying. Let's see.
Access to paradise. Good luck with that. Brilliant. So tonight we'll be looking at the rules regarding import duty and taxes in Portugal, how to save and reduce costs when shipping. This is by no means an exhaustive list, but certainly some of the things we'd like to cover tonight. But most importantly, your own questions. So thanks, Chiara. I hope I pronounced your name correctly for your first question. Get them coming in. Don't wait. It's great for Thiago to be able to answer specific and individual questions. But on the more general side of things, transportation by air freight, sea freight, and trucking of household effects, fine arts and valuables. We always like to talk about that when we talk to GIR, transporting some of your most valuable things. Is it important? The question of is it important if your moving company is based in Portugal or not? I know Jackie has an interesting insight on that. What items should you insure specifically, and who can you call if something goes wrong in the process? Because imagine the last time you see your things perhaps is on your front lawn, driving away from your home, and you hope to see them next time in Portugal. But there's quite the process in between there and then, and when you see them again in Portugal. Who can you call if you're concerned about anything? We'll cover that tonight as well. So this let's start with this thing of import duty and taxes. It's fairly complicated, but you're the folks who can cut through that, right? What are people up against when it comes to import duty and taxes, bringing things into Portugal, Thiago?
Okay, normally the part of the import paying taxes and duties, or duties and taxes, you know that in Portugal, the part of the taxes are always 23%. That is the VAT in Portugal for household goods or personal effects, as we can say. And then you have the part of the duty. In this case, the duties, they are calculated, depends of the things that you are bringing, okay? Because the duties are not always equal, okay? You have, for example, shoes, used shoes, you pay 17% in terms of duties, okay, of the value of the shoes. If you have glasses, you pay 14. If you have used clothes, you pay 5%, okay? So it's not always equal for everything.
Right.
We have the important part to be able to calculate the duties and taxes. In this case, the important part for us is to have an access to the list of the items that you want to bring, okay, so we can do a proper calculation, okay. Of course, we are always talking about an estimation, okay.
Yes.
But normally we are inside of the estimation that we pass to everyone regarding the what you will pay. And then besides the part of the duties and taxes, we have to always mention that the calculation, it's based on the 23% of VAT, the duties of each item, and then the value of the transport, in this case, sea freight, air freight, road freight, whatever can be, and the insurance, okay?
Right.
So normally what I like to do, and I always work like this, is to make a proper calculation and always thinking on the higher side of the percentage of duty, okay, to give a proper estimation and to give the proper information to the clients.
So detailed inventory is very important of
Yeah.
what people are bringing into the country. Okay, so I'm sure people are making notes at this point. That is an important note to make. So that's these are the broader points that we're looking at before we go into the personal questions, and they're coming in. So thank you, Laurie. Thank you, Marcia. Thank you, Jim and George, so far for your questions. I'll definitely get around to those. How can people save and reduce costs when bringing things over to Portugal? We've seen a rise in prices, haven't we, of shipping things around the world over the last few years, for sure. And you know, people will obviously want to save money in this department. How can they do that, Thiago?
To be honest with you, my best advice for everyone is mainly the people that are coming from outside of the European Union is to be sure of the type of documentation that they need, for example, to make the import customs clearance in Portugal, okay, to have all the proper information to avoid any type of problem when the shipment already arrives to Portugal. We are talking about the demurrage charges, port charges, that type of stuff, or possible payment of taxes and duties because of the lack of documentation. For me, that is the main point. Before, okay, we can think, okay, I want to go to Portugal, to live in Portugal, but before we think on the price of the transport, the price to pack our personal effects and household goods, first main thing is to check the needed documentation, okay, and if we are able to have all the needed documentation, okay. That is my main advice for everyone, okay.
What, to make sure that everything is very clear, so there aren't hidden costs that suddenly escalate later on in the process. And
then after that, it's the part of the rest of the costs is to, okay, let's see, I cannot say that to let's give this example. I cannot say that today I want to go to Portugal and I want to start the process of my moving, okay, to Portugal, of my removal. I don't have any type of address in Portugal. I don't know if I'm going to Lisbon, to the center of Lisbon, to the interior, and that is also important to check what type of destination I really want, okay? Because in terms of calculations, if you can give a place, if you say to me, I'm going to live in center of Lisbon, in Lisbon center, okay, I will say to you, I cannot put the container on your door. Okay.
Yes.
I will for sure I will say that to you. Okay. And then you will have costs, but you already know it's the warehouse handling or the possible shuttle service, that type of costs. For that is the main reason that I pass these advices. Okay, so to be sure of what we want and what we can do to avoid any type of extra charges.
So the more specific people can be about what they're moving and where they're moving from and to the finest possible detail, devil's in the detail, basically, the less the chance of escalating and spiraling costs based on unknowns. Okay, that's great advice. Thank you. So you do ship things by air, by sea, and by truck, and presumably by any other means necessary. But you cover every kind of transport, do you?
Yeah, that is true. That is true. To be honest, at this time and after COVID, after the COVID time, we see a big increase in terms of sea freight. Okay, the air freight and the trucking, in this case the road freight, are a little down. Okay, and we are most working on the sea freight, because the air freight normally we use, or the clients want the air freight to have the things already in 1 week at destination. Okay, so but we know that all the prices are going in terms of the airlines and that type of stuff. But the truck mainly are coming from the European Union, in France, Germany, that type of countries. And because of the fuel values, okay, in Portugal, mainly in Portugal, the people are stopping a little bit of using the truck transport, and mostly using the sea freight transport. Okay,
so
and you have time, and mainly because you also have time to arrange all the needed documentation, because depends of the transit times. And to United States, that normally from port to port you take 25-30 days, so you have time to organize everything, to proceed with the things, and to don't worry about the time, the little time frame that you can have in terms of transport.
So you seem to be favoring sea freight there. Interesting. And what sort of things are being moved by you, to give us an idea? I know we won't specialize tonight in animals and pets. We'll have a further webinar about that, but I think you can talk about it in the broadest terms. Of course, GIR can move the furry friends in the family, but mainly you're looking at household effects. And you can stretch to valuables and fine art, and those.
We can talk a little about cars, also about cars.
As well. Yeah, okay.
Okay, because cars normally the advice to transport cars, it's almost the same of the household goods. It's to be sure of what you need, what you have, what you can do, what are the rules to make the import of the cars to Portugal, and to know that arriving to Portugal, we have two type of process. Okay, for example, for the cars, you have the part of the import customs clearance, that is a normal part, but then you have the part of the legalization process that we also take care of. That we can take care of that, our relocation departments, but it's a different process. Okay, and normally some clients forget about that. They think that after the import customs clearance it's done, that everything it's okay, that they can drive the car without any problem in Portugal. But it's not like that.
No, we realize that, don't we? And you can forgive people for thinking that they'll just drive, get their keys. Hopefully they've got their keys. They'll just drive their car out of the container port and head for home. But of course, there's two parts to that. There's bringing it here, and then there's making the vehicle legal for use in Portugal. So, I mean, we hear this time and time again, really. Or this is a message that's very important from Expats Portugal to people who are thinking of moving to Portugal, is to check your assumptions. people will make assumptions that could cost them dearly later. So it's good to have a conversation and be very detailed. And is that a service, incidentally, is that something people can do with you? Is give you a call and talk it through so
Of
they
course.
can make sure they're not making those sorts of mistakes?
To be honest, I prefer that the people call me and we talk about 5-10 minutes on the phone or 15 minutes. I don't have any problem. And to solve the situation and to try to help and to give examples and advices of all the things have to be done.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, for example, if they think they are bringing their convertible over, putting the top down and driving along the A2 to their dream home, maybe not. It's not as simple as that. There are other things to take care of. Brilliant. Okay. Fine art and valuables. You're happy to take care of precious items of that kind?
In terms of valuables, normally, my experience it's more with type of wines, rare wines. Okay, that is available. Rare wines. Okay. Watch. Okay. And then in terms of the imports to Portugal, valuable items, they don't appear too much. Okay. Normally, if we talk about museum exposition, that is a thing that requires another type of documentation. Okay. Because normally in terms of, for example, expositions on a museum, the type of customs clearance that you will make, it's not a final one. Okay, it's like a guarantee to the customs that the valuables items enters in Portugal, and then they will leave Portugal again, the same items without any problem, without any more things inside of the shipment. So it's on that area. Okay,
that's very interesting, isn't it? So basically those precious things get a visa to come and must go again, rather than okay, so we're talking that it's very different. Should it be? And what you're dealing with and what we're talking about mainly is household effects, people moving their home from one country to another and all the items that they want to bring with them. That's great. How important, Thiago, is it to be working with a company based in Portugal? I think Jackie would speak from her own experience about this, of just thinking, I know, we'll just get the A to Z out or the yellow pages or whatever your local equivalent is and call a moving company down the road and they'll move all our stuff to Portugal. It's far better, is it not, to have someone based in Portugal, the country of destination?
Portugal, what we can say about Portugal, the weather, the food, the wine,
I'm with you.
To be honest, okay. For example, to be honest, I mainly I cannot speak because I'm Portuguese. But I have to defend our country and all the persons that are listening to us and want to come to Portugal. They know what Portugal can give to them, and to us being based in Portugal, it's awesome because, as I already said, Lisbon, Porto, Faro, in this case, Lolé, Algarve, Madeira, Azores, and you can count with us and to help you in this case. Okay?
Because you're going to be here, your stuff's going to be here, and the company's going to be here once you have got here.
No one is going away.
Can you imagine? I mean, if you're calling back home to try and speak to the moving company in the United States to find out what's going on here in Portugal, that would be pretty miserable, I think. So it's it's an assumption you could make, isn't it? Get the local moving company to do it, but it makes a lot of sense to use a Portugal-based company. And here they are in front of you tonight. Thiago, certainly COO of GIR. Insurance, how important, how does it work with insuring things that are coming over?
It's really important to take care of the part of the insurance, mainly before the packing time. Okay, it's really important to have all that information, to have the correct values. We have to think that imagine the one item don't have the same value on the country of origin don't have the same value that in Portugal. The values are different. So we have to take attention for all of that type of things, okay? Because a computer in, let's say, in USA don't have the same value. The same computer, same model, same brand don't have the same value that you have in Portugal, okay? It's so we have, the client needs to pay attention with that, and it's really important to check this situation about the insurance.
So you'll help this side in terms of values.
We have our
insurance.
Imagine we have our insurance department, because normally what happen is when we receive the confirmation from the client that the client wants to make the removal with us, normally on the presentation of our coordinator that will take care of the logistics side, we also have our person in terms of the insurance that after sending the email to the client, with all the information that the client needs to be attention in terms of insurance, what needs to be filled, what the client can count in terms of insurance extension, because of the time that the shipment can be in storage in the warehouse waiting for a container or a truck to departure, or the flight of connection to Portugal or from Portugal. So we are specific, and we explain all the things on that email before the packing time, for example.
Okay, that's great. Good to know. So as far as insurance goes, you're all over that. You can find Global International Relocation in Expats Portugal Business Directory if you want to make that call and have a chat with Thiago or one of his colleagues there. We'll get to your excellent questions and comments in just a moment. Laurie, thank you, Dwight. A great selection of questions and points there, which we'll come to after covering these more general points. And don't forget, of course, after we stop the recording, you'll get a chance to ask even more personal questions about your cigar collection or other things that you may not wish to share on the public part of the webinar. Who can you call if something goes wrong? Now, this relates, I guess, to the importance of having a company based in Portugal that's moving you. But while, as I said before, when you wave goodbye to your stuff and you see it going in a lorry, and the next time you expect to see it is outside your house in Portugal, what sort of how much contact can people be in with you to monitor what's going on?
To be honest, our politic in Global it's simple. We have a coordinator that is responsibility, that the main responsibility is to take care of the client since the beginning until the end of the move. So
door to door.
Door to door. Okay, from the beginning to the end. And my advice for all the clients, when you have a coordinator taking care from from door to door, in this case, don't worry to send message or to call or to send an email. Question, put the question on the email. What you need, what is going on, what is happening, because we know all the things in terms of moving work, and we are here to help. Okay, and our main politic in terms of coordination is that one, is to take care of the client from the first step until the last step.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, that's wonderful. Let's get into the specific questions now. We have people with us from the UK and the Netherlands, as well as North America. So the first question that came in, this was, thank you for putting question at the beginning of your question. That really helps among all the other comments. Chiara, we are downsizing, but I would love to know an estimate of how much we should budget for moving. So I mean, it is difficult, I think, to make these sorts of estimates, but perhaps you can give us a rough idea. In this instance, it's moving 1 bedroom worth of furniture and the personal items. I don't know if that's 1 bedroom's worth or the whole of the rest of the house, but it sounds to me that, Chiara, is that a bit difficult to say? From the East Coast to the Azores. What would you say about that?
It's not, to be honest, it's not an easy thing to do at this time, okay, to give a proper value or an estimated value. What can I say to Chiara? It's To Azores, for example, she always have to count, okay, that the container needs to come to Lisbon, okay, then take care of the import customs clearance, and then we have to send other container to the Iceland, to Azores, okay.
Okay,
because the unfortunately for us, Azores only receives national containers, okay, national companies containers, don't receive the international containers.
That's interesting.
So
that's a huge opportunity for the Azores, isn't it?
Yeah,
to become an international container port, but no, they have to come to Lisbon first.
Because mainly because of the vessel sizes, and the port sizes in Azores, because as you can imagine, the port sizes are not the same as Sines, for example, in Portugal, or Leixões, or even Lisbon. The ports are smaller in this case, and they opted, and the shipping companies, mainly the shipping companies, the international shipping companies, opted to don't send any containers to Azores, and we have to pass to the national containers in this case.
So that sounds like it might be a little bit more expensive than just straightforward shipping to Portugal. But if I can suggest you call Thiago and colleagues, and get have a chat and get a more specific idea and estimation of the cost. Great question from Patrick and Barbara in Detroit. Is it possible to ship and store items in Portugal? And there's a good caveat here, assuming it stays inside the container. So do you store things for people?
No, that part, I will, of course it's possible, but I'm saying no. Why? Mainly, when you are shipping your removal to Portugal, you have to count that the container don't belongs to you, okay, belongs to a shipping company.
Okay.
And as the container arrives to the port in Portugal, Leixões, Sines, or Lisbon, the shipping company gives you, for example, 7 free time days, okay, to do what? To make the import customs clearance, to take the container from the port, to unload the container, and to return the container empty to the shipping company, okay? Everything that goes after the 7 free time days that they give to you, you will start to pay the so-called demurrage charges, okay?
Demurrage, okay.
And that demurrage charge can be from 60 euros to 90 euros per day.
Okay, so that could rack up if it gets out of control. That starts to build up. Okay,
what we do at Global, and being based in Lisbon and having our warehouse in Porto and in Lolé, is we have our proper storage containers, okay, that are wooden containers, and we store everything at our warehouses. Okay, so of course it's possible to ship and to store the items in Portugal, but we always take the items from the container that proceeds with the transport and put to our storage containers.
Okay, and the container goes back to the company who brought it. Okay, to avoid those charges. So there you go, Patrick and Barbara. I hope that's helpful. Let us know if you need any more information. So yeah, it's best that it doesn't stay in the container, going back to your original question. And I'll add Marcia's question to this and come back to you in a moment, Jim. Are we able to purchase and ship our own container and then pay for it to be stored in Portugal? I guess you've already answered that to some extent. But we need to ship my husband's extensive hobby train collection. That sounds interesting. I mean, people, there's nothing to stop someone buying a container and trying to store it, but it sounds like that's very expensive.
Imagine, of course, you can purchase a container, of course, but attention that to send the container or for the container to go in a vessel and to sail, the container, you have the rules. Okay, the container have to be fit to be on the vessel and to make the trip. The container have to get some documentation from the origin country, everything. So it's not an easy thing to do. Okay, it's not an easy thing to do.
It sounds like you're basically starting your own shipping company with one container.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that's not a great idea, really, is it?
Yeah, really. Yeah. To be honest, if you want to storage the items in a container, to be honest, you can send to Portugal. We make the import customs clearance. Then you can buy a container in Portugal.
Yes. Well, they must
and put it in the garden, for example.
Yes, well, I think container companies get calls all the time, don't they, for people who want them as houses, for example, and they must get sick of people ringing up. So is the best approach then, because these last two questions have been about storage. Is it in some ways better to store things? Let's say you're coming from the United States, store it locally until it's time to move, and then make the move. Is that the best? If something needs to be stored, is it best to store it that side rather than this side?
Imagine, let's see. If you want to store at origin, for example, for the main reason that you don't qualify to have all the documentation at that time to import the household goods to Portugal, it's a big factor, and it's the best thing to do. Okay. But if you want to store in Portugal because you are residing in Portugal, you proceed and have all the documents, needed documentation, and you want to store in Portugal because in Portugal you still don't have the house, or the house it's under construction. That normally happens. Of course, it's better. To me, it's better to store the things depending of the factors and depending of what is going on in this case, with your life. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so there isn't a universal solution. It really depends on the individual circumstances, as we find with many of the moving parts of moving to Portugal. So again, it comes down to having a conversation with the company, I think. Going back to Jim's question, can an antique vehicle, and you might have to qualify how old it is, Jim, but are antique vehicles exempt from taxes and fees, Thiago?
Depends. In terms of antique vehicles, attention to this. Depends of the years of the car. Depends of the brand of the car and the model of the car. Okay. Not you can have two cars with 25 years, for example, but one can be considered as antique and the other not. Okay. So it's important to check what type of car is, and if it's in fact considered in Portugal an antique vehicle. Okay. And if it's considered an antique vehicle, you don't have the 23% of the VAT. Okay, but you will have to pay the 10% of duties.
Very good. Okay, we are getting to official overwhelmment with all your questions, which is fantastic. We will get through as many as we can in the next approximately 10 minutes, but then thereafter we'll go back and work our way through everything else. I like to take the more general questions that are of a sort of universal benefit to people. Shipping from inside the EU, does one have to pay taxes? This is a question from George, I believe, in the Netherlands. Does one have to pay taxes, customs and duty if one comes from an EU or an EEA country, or from Switzerland, for example?
EEA, from EEA. Okay. From Switzerland, Finland, the countries that don't belong to the European Union, you have to pay taxes and duties. Okay.
All right. It makes Switzerland an expensive place to live, even if you're not going to be living there anymore. Okay. Ed and Sharon, is it best to ship your items via the airplane you fly in on? Now, that is seen as a little bit of a hack for some people, which is fair enough if you only plan to bring 6 suitcases with you, but you can't get many sofas and TVs into the country like that.
It will become very complicated. You can believe in it.
Just add water at the other end. But I mean, you can see the point they're making. I mean, that is quite a cost-effective way of moving things, isn't it? But obviously, there's a limit to what you're allowed to bring in on what's technically, logistically possible doing that. And maybe Ed and Sharon, you might want to talk to us later about what your plan there and what you have in mind. Our understanding, says Dwight. Thanks, Dwight, for being here tonight. Our understanding was that if one had completed their CEF appointment, one received a baggage duty-free certificate for personal household goods within 1 year, and if shipping before CEF or after 1 year, then there would be a duty charge. So can you clarify that on duty-free?
The part of the duty-free, for example, in terms of the CEF appointments, and the baggage certificate from the Portuguese embassy or consulate is the rule. It's simple. The rule says that you have 12 months after issuing the baggage certificate, after the date that it's stated on the baggage certificate that you are transferring the residence to Portugal.
Mm-hmm.
The part of the CEF, it's also important because without the CEF appointments, okay, and with unfortunately with some issues that have been happening in Portugal with the CEF delays, you cannot change your fiscal address, okay, your Portuguese fiscal address, okay. You have the fiscal number that you always will have, but you need to change your fiscal address to Portugal to be fiscal resident in Portugal. Without that CEF appointment, you are not able to change. So even that you have a baggage certificate and you are inside of that 12 months, okay, of the gap of the 12 months, but you don't have the CEF appointment and you cannot change your fiscal address to Portugal, okay, you will pay taxes and duties, okay. You will not be able to import without paying taxes and duties.
Okay, so that timing is crucial.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. What are the recommendations? Thank you, Lisa, for this. What are the recommendations regarding packing? Do you provide a container? What size? So yeah, the logistics. You know, what happens when you start packing your stuff up at your house? Does somebody come and do it for you? Can you do it yourself? What are the options there, Thiago?
Okay, we have our teams, as you can imagine, and our teams do the packing, okay. And to be honest with you, because of the insurance terms, come on, we are not packers, okay. We are not packers. I already have made packing during my life, during the 11 years that I'm working on the moving business, but we are not specialists in terms, okay. So my best advice is, okay, if you want to pack some more personal items, what I always say to the clients is okay, you can pack, leave the box open, okay, so my colleagues can check if everything is okay.
Good idea. Yeah.
Okay, because then if you close the box, you will have we will have problems with the packing list because we don't know what is inside of the boxes. You can say that you have books inside of the boxes and you don't have books there, okay. Imagine that when you are making the export customs clearance or the import customs clearance, they want to make a customs inspection and they open that box, that main box, and they find something else that
it reflects very badly on the company, of course. And it's like the question, isn't it? They ask you, you know, as you're coming through the airport, did you pack this yourself? And of course, if your company has taken responsibility for the packing, you can safely say, yes, we know exactly what's in here. This is the list. Very good. So it's a bit like when people start off DIY with their visas and then they want Gildas to sort it all out at the end. It's pretty messy, isn't it? Your preference, of course, is to go from door to door and handle the entire process so you know exactly what's gone on.
And that is the main reason, for example, for us, GIR, is our colleagues, our agents that we have around the world. And you know that we have our certifications and we have to work with the proper companies, and we do that. So it's
working to a global. You're working to a global standard of professionalization in the moving business. Okay, got it. That's great. Good to know. Now there's some great talk in the chat about what to move, especially when it comes to these electronics. And obviously that's a way of saving money, isn't it? It's not bringing things that aren't going to work here anyway. In your experience, what are the things that are just really aren't worth bringing over to Portugal?
To be honest, game devices, the computers depends. Okay, depends of the type of computer. Because mainly with the electronics or some items that we think, okay, I will send this to Portugal. I'll buy this item here at origin, imagine United States, and I will send this to Portugal. And then when I arrive, I will have the item with me without any problem. But no, in fact, you can have problems. You can have problems because you can get the things stuck at customs because they want declarations, they want documents that you don't have. You have to prove what type of item are you buying, where, and then you have to pay the VAT in Portugal. So you buy it at the origin, okay, to save money, for example, but then when you arrive to Portugal, and you will have that problem, and you will have to pay the 23% of the VAT. So that doesn't worth it, that type of things.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much for that. Yes, Laurie, overwhelming. But you know me, I will try and get to all the questions if possible. By the way, you can take as much stuff as you can fit in your stateroom, taking the Queen Mary. Well, there's a hack. An interesting way of doing it. That's unusual and original. Thank you very much, Debbie, this evening. Let's see. I think we should probably stop the recording there and get to all these other more personal questions after the recording has ended. But is there anything else you want to add at this point, Thiago, that you feel we haven't touched upon, or a closing message to people here tonight?
I think the part of the questions that I'm seeing here, the main important to say to all of us is to be sure of what we want to do, okay, of what we want to move, and to be sure that we are working to have all the needed documentation. And if we don't know of how you can see, how you can find internet sites to check that information, try to check what companies can help you. In this case, we can help you. If you go to the expats page of Portugal, you can check our company. You have the contacts, and we can talk without any problem and solve any type of issue that can exist.
Great. So the invitation is there. Get in touch with Thiago and colleagues at Global International Relocation, who you can find in the business directory at Expats Portugal. And I believe there is a discount for premium members as well, which is worth having too. So for the time being, Thiago, thank you so much for being here this evening. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.